Hey, it's Dr. Thornell with New England Family Chiropractic, and I want to share with you today some information on using a what we're calling a trigger point massage ball. It's a lacrosse ball. It could be a baseball. It can be a softball. Is a little bit large for some areas, but you can try to utilize a softball. It can be a dog toy that has the consistency of a lacrosse ball. A tennis ball is too soft, to give you an idea. What we're trying to do with these balls is we're trying to compress muscle tissue to help eliminate lactic acid from the muscles and waste product within the muscles that become an irritant to the muscle and further make them tight. At the same time, we're trying to restore the gliding motion to tissues within not only the muscle and the individual fibers, but also what's called the fascia and the skin that are between the muscle and the ball when we lay on it, and we utilize it in different ways. And what happens within the body is all of these different tissues are supposed to be separate and be able to glide on one another, which creates flexibility and mobility and pliability. And when we have restriction in a muscle or a joint over a period of time, we will get scar tissue and adhesions between those tissues, and they no longer glide properly, which can explain why sometimes we'll make great adjustments, and the joints all of a sudden can move fantastic, but yet your range of motion is still limited. Well, it's limited by the muscle, the fascia, the skin not having that normal glide. And then what happens is eventually we're not able to use the range of motion in the joints because of the muscle and the soft tissues, and everything starts to get bound up again within the spine. So utilizing the ball to do some of this soft tissue work on your own will not only make you more comfortable, it's going to make your adjustments more beneficial and basically last longer. It's going to give you more life to those adjustments. So the one we're going to focus on today is probably one of the most common areas that people are aware of that sort of muscle tightness and those adhesions, and it's because of our posture. As we're at the computer all day and we hunch forward and we're on our phones all day, heads out in front of us, the muscles between your shoulder blades and then up into your neck are chronically stretched. And the reflexive action within the body of a chronic stretch is to tighten and start to create those adhesions. Frequently I'll say to people, your posture, you sit like this for 3 hours at a time at a computer. Imagine if I took your leg and I put it underneath you and had you lean back and stretch that thigh muscle for 3 hours, and then said, okay, now go ahead and get up and walk around. You could barely straighten the leg again, never mind walk around. And the same thing happens in those postural muscles. So we're looking at the spine here, and your shoulder blades sit about 3 inches to either side of your spine. The muscles that we want to focus on are in between the spine and the shoulder blades, and then up into what are called the trapezius muscles, up into here, and even into the base of the neck. So the way that we're going to do this, it's very, very simple stuff that we're talking about, and you don't have to spend hours doing it. The way I recommend doing this is either at the end of your workout, spend about 3 to 5 minutes using one of the lacrosse balls, or just have it in your living room, and when you're watching TV, when the commercials come on, hit the floor and do these. So number one, this is done on the floor. I'm going to do it on the table just for demonstration purposes, but anything that's soft, you can't do it on your bed, you can't use it on our adjusting tables. Anything that's soft is going to take away the ability of the ball to penetrate up into those muscles. So again, I'm just using it here just for demonstration purposes. And all we want to do is, the first position we're going to get into is just by bringing your arms across one another as far as you can. We take those shoulder blades and we move them further apart so that we expose those muscles that are underneath there. And I'm simply going to lay on the ball. I'm going to put it in between where my spine and my shoulder blade is, bringing my arms across, opening up those muscles, and then all I want to do is find where that soreness exists in those muscles. I'll move myself around just a little bit, trying to find those sore areas. There's a good one there. And then all I want to do is just simply relax. Take a couple of deep breaths and try to let that ball work its way up into the muscle by relaxing the muscle. Let your posture go. Bend over the top of the ball as much as we can comfortably. Once that, after about 15 seconds, isn't uncomfortable anymore, it's time to move on and find another one. So I'm simply going to move my body down slightly, up slightly, in, out, working around without pressure on the ball until I find that sore area. Then I give it the pressure. We don't want to hold down with hard pressure and move ourselves around. We pick up, we move just a little bit, and then we lay back onto the ball again. And then another way to make it really effective, when you find one of those sore spots and we lay on it like that, simply take your arm and just move it around just a little bit, so that now we're taking that muscle and we're moving it across the ball. Again, helping to break up those adhesions in there. You can move your arm in and out this way. You can move your arm up and down this way. Finding, again, where it's most sore. Move yourself just a little bit without that pressure. Let yourself down onto the ball again. And you're going to work all up around, almost in a like an L shape. We're going to come up the scapula and then across the top, always staying on the muscle, the thick fleshy muscle. When we do that on bone, it's very uncomfortable and there's really no benefit to that. So we stay off of the spine, we stay off of the bony part of the scapula, but all in between the spine and the scapula on either side, up and around the top of the scapula into the trapezius muscles in the base of the neck. Very simple lacrosse ball. And by the way, we have these available. I've been telling people for years, grab a baseball or a softball, and people have a hard time sometimes getting their hands on them. So we decided finally, for $3, we've got lacrosse balls out front that you can grab when you're here. And I'm going to give you more and more tips on how to use those so that you can help eliminate some of that muscle tightness on your own at home.